Hey guys, I'm excited to share the video with you guys today. I go over what new construction is, talking about the benefits of it in terms of the financial side, talk about some of the upgrades and the overall what you have to pay for, what things are wrapped up in a loan, what things are out of pocket. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Thanks. I'm excited to do this video for you guys today. I'm going to be talking about new construction and what that means for you. So I often get asked, hey, should I build a home? What is new construction like? What's financing like? What's settlement like? I mean, how long does it take to close? How long does it take to build? What is it that I need to know when I'm talking about new construction? So this is what I want to talk about in this video. So new construction has a lot of benefits, right? Obviously, the big things I'd look for when we're purchasing a home is we're looking at your roof, your HVAC systems, we're looking at your foundation, making sure that those are all taken care of. The nice thing about new homes is usually you don't have to worry about that. There hasn't been any wear and tear on the home. You're the first owner, you get to go in there and everything's new, right? A lot of times it's not super custom. I mean, unless you're looking at a much higher price point. It's new builders. They have typically a model. Sometimes, like Arrive, with Arrive Homes, they do a lot of work that you can on customization. But most of them are pretty standard. And here's kind of what you see. Here's what you get. But here's some of the costs that are associated with new builds. In terms of the loan process, the nice thing is you can do a standard conventional loan. Whether you can do an FHA loan on it if it qualifies within the price range. You can do a standard conventional loan. Depending on the price range, you might have to do a jumbo loan. But overall, you don't have to do like a construction loan. Usually if you're doing new build through a main builder, you just go through and get all the documentation done and they start up on your loan near the tail end of the process when you guys are ready to purchase it. So the loan side isn't too tough. Here's some of the costs associated with it though. That oftentimes you don't think of is how much is your landscaping. And let's just talk about maybe on a quarter-acre lot. That's a pretty average lot. If they don't do your front yard or your backyard and you have to landscape those, you're typically looking about $10,000 is what it costs to landscape those. And if you don't have a fence, well, you could be looking another $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 to put a fence around your yard, your backyard, so you have your own privacy there. So you're about $15,000 there. And then oftentimes, this is one that a lot of folks don't think of is your curtains, right? It's your curtains, your curtain rods. How much do those cost? How much do the blinds cost? We actually just had a bid done on the windows behind me. We're going to have a little better blinds for hopefully a little better video experience for you guys. But we did those, and to get those two done on the not the nicest blind, but a decent blind. It's about $500, right? And if you're looking at some of the newer homes that have very big windows and things like that, and your custom size windows that aren't standard, then you're going to end up having to spend a good chunk of change. Maybe you're paying another maybe on the low end, $2,000 to $5,000 on blinds. So that's something you need to keep in mind there as well. And then oftentimes if you're buying a home with a basement, usually the new builds, unless you're calculating that within your costs, those ones, if they're building it out and say the basement is, 1,500-1,600 square feet, then that's usually about $40,000 is what it costs to finish those on their end. So those are some general costs associated with it. If we want to get into more nitty gritty, I guess we can. A lot of the builders don't supply fridges. Sometimes they do if you use a preferred lender, but oftentimes they don't have fridges. Oftentimes you're having to buy your own washer and dryer and get those in there. And overall, those are some of the expenses associated with it. The nice thing is when you're in new construction, not very often are you competing against other offers. A lot of times, if you like it, you guys put in an offer, they go with the offer that comes in first. Usually don't have a ton of negotiation, but sometimes you can get them to pay your closing costs. If you work with their preferred lender, they can do something there. A lot of lenders, even though they're not their preferred lender, to compete with their preferred lender, they can help out with a portion of the closing costs. So oftentimes when it comes to new builds, there tends to be a little more lender incentives that take place there. So that's another benefit of new build. But overall, you just need to consider what's most important to you. The other downfall is oftentimes on those new builds is they're not as established neighbors, not as established neighborhoods. And sometimes folks really like that. They come in a fresh new start. No one really knows anyone, so they think it's a chance to meet each other. Or sometimes they're like, we don't like that demographic. So it really depends on what you're looking for. But overall, I think new builds are a good way to go. The best way to make money on new builds, the finance side, which is what I like, right? But really it is the finance side. You never want to be the biggest house on the block. You never want to be the fanciest house on the block. If you're going through there, one of the questions I often ask when we're meeting with a builder or the builder's agent is, what is the standard? What are the standard upgrades that people are doing? How much are people spending on those? And say the average is $20,000 that people are spending. So we want to stay closer to maybe $5,000 or $6,000, right? That way, as those other homes appreciate, even though they're nicer, your home's likely going to appreciate at a similar rate. And then those upgrades that they're putting in, you're usually not getting a dollar for dollar return on those. So it's good to consider those things as you're purchasing them. And you don't want the biggest one. Usually you want a smaller or medium-sized one as opposed to what's being built around there. Again, is another really good way to build up equity and to have your nicer neighbors and what they're doing to your home take and raise you up with the tides. But there's a lot more that we can talk about new construction. Ultimately, it really depends on what a person is looking for. So if you guys are interested in new construction or what that could look like for you, feel free to reach out to me. We can go over and talk those details of, hey, here's my situation, here's what I'm looking for, here's what I'm not looking for, here's what I prefer, here's XYZ. And then we can kind of go in and consult on, here's what I would recommend, here's what I wouldn't recommend, and here's the best way to move forward. But overall, I hope you guys found this video valuable. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and take care.